Thank you, Piper. Please be seated. Welcome to Branch 220's Remembrance Day Dinner. We are here to celebrate the past and the present members of the forces and to pay tribute to our veterans. We will continue now with the proceedings of the evening, and it's hoped and anticipated that you will have a very pleasant time. I'd ask Joan Wallace if she would please help us with O Canada.
Everyone could stand as they are able, please. Join me. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all our sons command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
If you'd like to charge your glasses, as we're starting our toast, that the head table hasn't had an opportunity to do so yet. I'd like to call on Comrade Gary Netsky to propose a toast to our fallen comrades.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Okay, I'd like to bring your attention to the table that's on the stage. It's reserved to honor our fallen comrades in arms. This symbolizes that they are here with us in spirit, and we should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call and served the cause of freedom in a special way. We are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured the agonies of pain, deprivation, and death. I'd like to explain the meaning of the items on this table. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for our fallen comrades. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the life of each of our fallen comrades and the loved ones and friends of these comrades who keep the faith. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, symbol of our continued determination to remember our fallen comrades. A slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those who will never return. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by mothers and families of those who have sacrificed all. The Holy Book represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us. The chair is empty because they are no longer with us. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. May they and their families ever be watched over and protected. Let us give thanks for the many blessings we have received. Let us give thanks for the security of Canada and the freedoms we enjoy and experience every day. However, let us also remember the great price that has been paid for that freedom. We knew them, they lived, they felt, they were as vibrant, as energetic, as immortal as you and I. They were brave. They fell for peace and for freedom in the service of their country. Many may argue about the futility of death and of war, but one should never forget that they died not in vain, but in honor. Many times through the years, our country has called, and many men and women have answered that call. Let us not forget our fallen comrades, but remember them always, for they have earned our respect and admiration with their lives. We knew them, we remember them, and they will not be forgotten. To our fallen comrades.
We're going to sing God Save the Queen. If you're able to stand, please join me. God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen.
Thank you. I'd like to call on Second Lieutenant Rick Leisure to toast the Queen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have everybody charge their glass? To the Queen.
Please be seated. So thank you to everybody who helped with the singing and the toast. And I'd now like to call on Padre Horsley to say grace.
Can you all bow your heads, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We're so grateful to live in a wonderful country that we do. I ask, Lord, that you would bless this food, bless the hands that have prepared it, and continue to bless our branch here at 220. And Lord, we just thank you this in your precious name. Amen.
Now we hope that you'll enjoy your meal and the camaraderie of the people around you. So we'll talk with you soon. Enjoy your meal. Our coffee chair, Bruce Wright. Mayor Ken Bennington. Branch 220, Lesa Peat. I'm smiling and saying Walter Kovalchuk. Bob Stevenson. Of the Quilts of Valour, please. While we're waiting for the Quilts of Valour, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, one of our guest speakers. Walter Kovalchuk joined the Royal Canadian Engineers in 1961 at the age of 19. He attended basic training at Chilliwack, BC, and then was posted to the 2nd Field Squadron engaged throughout New Brunswick. In 1963, he requested and granted a transfer to the Canadian Provost Corps Military Police. In 1965, was assigned to the United Nations Peacekeeping as a military police in Cyprus. In 1966, he transferred to the Canadian Military Police in West Germany as part of Canada's military force with NATO in Europe. In 1970, he returned to Canada and transferred to the Winnipeg and later Kingston, Ontario. In 1972, he was honorably released and appointed Chief of Police of Cardinal Police Services in Cardinal, Ontario. In 1983, he was appointed Deputy Chief of Police at Alliston, Ontario, and promoted to Chief of Police in 1985. In 1992, he was transferred to the OPP and assigned as Detachment Commander of Dufferin. In 2005, he retired from the OPP. In 2006, he was elected Deputy Mayor of Amaranth Township and served until 2013. In 2012, he served as Warden of Dufferin County. He is now retired. He and his wife, Darlene, have 3 grown children and 2 grandchildren. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Walter.
Good evening, comrades, friends, and guests. It is a great honor to have been given this opportunity to speak with you this evening, especially on this day when we gather together to remember those many thousands of Canadians who gave their lives and well-being to defend Canada's interests. I would like to take a minute or two to tell you a little about myself. I grew up on a mixed farm in rural Manitoba. I was very fortunate in that I had it made. I went to school, had friends, had a few tasks on the farm that weren't too onerous, and a family that, by and large, looked out for one another. Now, when I finished school, I started thinking about earning a living. Farming didn't quite have that feel for me. But then again, like many young people in this great country, too, took for granted our luck in living in this great country. Now, on a fine autumn day in September, I just decided to join the Canadian Army. It seemed strange because I knew zero about the military. Now, about 2 weeks later, I was on my way to basic training with the engineers in Chilliwack, BC. 6 months later, I was on my way to Gagetown, New Brunswick. Now, you talk about an eye-opener for a young farm kid from Manitoba. A year later, I asked for and was granted a transfer to the military police. And about 2 years after that, I was summoned to the captain's office. Now, anyone that's been in the military knows you get summoned to the captain's office, and that's usually not a good day. So he says to me, he asked, how would I like an assignment with the United Nations on a peacekeeping mission to Cyprus? Now, Captain asked you that. The answer was, oh, I'd love to do that, sir. No problem. Well, of course, after I went out, I went to the sergeant and said, sir, where the heck is Cyprus? Now, you may know that at that time, Cyprus was a divided country, an island in the Mediterranean. The internal conflict was, in essence, caused by two countries, Greece and Turkey, trying to have influence over the governance of the island. Anyway, a couple of months after I got there, another MP and I were on patrol. We stopped and went into a shop on the Greek side of the Green Line and spoke with two middle-aged men who were in the shop. They were friendly. Offered us a glass of juice, not fermented, and a coffee. After that, I stopped in whenever I was in the area. Now, one day, there was only one of those gentlemen in the shop. And after a while, I asked him, where's your friend? And somewhat quietly, he said, well, he couldn't get across the line today. Now, I realized at that time that the friend was a Turk Cypriot and not permitted in the Greek zone. Now, that was when my education started, really began, because here are two friends, who because of ethnic and political issues were not allowed to associate freely. And I can tell you, whenever I went out on assignment or whatever, and you saw the Canadian flag flying, boy, you were thankful for where you came from. Now, after my UN assignment, about a year later, I was posted to the Canadian Military Police in West Germany as part of NATO forces in Europe. Now, while in Europe, like any young Canadian soldier, I took the opportunity on my free time to visit other countries, like Holland and Belgium, to name two. Now, these two countries were totally occupied by enemy forces during World War II. They experienced total loss of freedom. Now, as a Canadian, when I went to these countries, I was welcomed like a friend, like a long, long lost friend. Why? Because of the enormous sacrifice of our Canadian forces to restore freedom to those countries during the Second War. They have never forgotten. I visited a number of military cemeteries in Holland and Belgium. Now, unless one sees these cemeteries, one does not understand the magnitude of the Canadian losses. Thousands and thousands of Canadian graves. But in Holland, many young school children visit the cemeteries and plant flowers on the Canadian graves. In Belgium, the names of missing and presumed dead Allied soldiers are inscribed in stone on the Menin Gate. Maybe some of them in there. Every day at sundown, the local fire department parades and plays taps. These countries remember the sacrifice that Allied soldiers, including Canadians, made for their freedom. Now, every year, we take this time to collectively remember those ordinary Canadian men and women who went and did extraordinary things that ultimately benefited many millions of ordinary people throughout the world since World War I, World War II, the Korean conflict, countless peacekeeping missions, numerous NATO missions, and most recently in Afghanistan. Most of us know some of these ordinary, extraordinary Canadians who served this country. A couple who come to my mind. One is a veteran who joined the Royal Rifles of Canada, fought and was wounded during the Battle of Hong Kong, and survived 4 years in a Japanese prison camp. He returned to Canada, raised a family, worked, and contributed to this country. He was my father-in-law, Rifleman Thomas Lucas. Another is a young man who lives in this community, served as a medic in Afghanistan. Now, this young man is working in the community. He and his wife are contributing to their circle and to make this country what we have become used to. Just a couple examples for me of service in this country. I want to take a couple of minutes to speak about our responsibility to remember our veterans, not just on November the 11th, but all the days of the year. We all know the poem In Flanders Field. Now, one particular part of this poem is still real today as it was in 1915. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. I take that the torch is still ours to hold high, as it was then. And the torch consists not only of that time, the immediate battle with the enemy, but the obligation today to ensure that our Canadian values of looking after all our citizens, to ensure our society is inclusive of all, and our right of freedom of speech and opinion is part of our character. So, my friends, the torch is still ours to be held high. Do not break faith with our past brave, ordinary, extraordinary Canadians. Let's make sure that when we pass on the torch to our young Canadians, we encourage them to be aware of what is happening in our country and the world, that they ensure that our values of inclusiveness, mentorship, freedom of expression, and compassion for others are continued and welcomed in our country by those that we entrust to make those things happen. Doing this will ensure that the torch that was passed to us will continue to be held high. We will remember them.
We will remember them.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Walter. We'll now call on the Quilts of Valour, please.
Good evening. My name is Penny Squirrel, and I'm part of the Quilts of Valour Dufferin group. We are a small but dedicated group of quilters who have made it our mission to present quilts to all veterans who have served from Dufferin County. Not just our World War II vets, but in every conflict since. Our group was founded in 2013 by Judy McLeod. She's the lady with the blonde hair here, who went around and recruited a few volunteers to help her. And we meet monthly here at the Legion, and we stitch away. And you'll see tonight some of the examples that we have stitched. All of the quilts are different because we have rely on gifts from our own members and from anybody else that wants to support us. And we stitch what we have. So you have blue and green and every color of the rainbow. And so I hope our veterans tonight that we are presenting to will find great value in these quilts, as we have certainly put a lot of love and time and dedication into them. So I'd like to call on our first recipient, Walter Chichuk. Walter?
If I don't make it, it's the Padres' fault.
These are given with our love and our gratitude and as a thank you for your service. Gary Netsky. those we present to are not actual veterans, but they have given hours and hours and hours of time to our veterans. Lesa Peat. And again, we appeal to our general public. If you know of someone that is worthy of one of these quilts, we'd be glad to take their name and get stitching away.
Thank you very much, ladies. Very much appreciated. They were beautiful. I'd now like to introduce our second speaker for the evening. It's Rob Stevenson. Rob was born in Toronto and he moved to Orangeville in 1989. In 2002, Rob joined the military with the 3rd Battalion of the Royal Canadian Regiment, and he was posted to Peshawar. He served in Afghanistan in 2008, and November the 13th, 2008, he was injured by an IED. He was then transported to a hospital in Germany for 10 days, and then medevaced to Sunnybrook Hospital for reconstruction surgery. He's still in treatment now and still in recovery. His partner is Sherry Ruette, and they reside in Shelburne. My pleasure to introduce you to Rob Stevenson.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out and supporting us vets. It means a lot. So how it started for me, so everyone knows. Back in 2000, I was living down in the GTA area, and just working job to job, being laid off, looking for other jobs. I traveled the transit system. And I noticed a sign on the bus, join the forces. It's something that's always attracted me, but I just never motivated myself to get involved. I was looking at that for about 6 months every day. Finally, I got fed up, and I wanted stability. I wanted adventure because that's my person. I love adventure. I love thrills. So I started the process. 2001, by this time we're into 2001, I started the process. 2002, I went to basic training in St. Jean, Quebec. From there, I went to Meaford. I did my soldier qualification and my infantry school. May 2003, that was all done. I did all my courses. I was being shipped to 3RCR. That is my new home. Everybody hear me?
Not us artillery, guys.
I'm not going to go there. I was posted to the RCR, CFB Petavala, Light Infantry Battalion. Spent a short time in Oscar Company. Then I was did my reconnaissance course, and I went to reconnaissance platoon. I've traveled a lot of places training. I've done all kinds of training. I've done desert warfare training throughout Texas, New Mexico. I've done jungle training, Florida. We've done a lot of other. I've been all over the place. I can sit around and stop places, but there's not enough time for that. So, 2008, September. September 11th, I was on the plane heading over to the Middle East. It was hard with the family. It was. I mean, I was so comfortable. I mean, that's what we trained for. That's what I joined for. But you know, family's hard, especially the mother's side, right? But anyways, you know, I shed a couple of tears. I said my goodbyes. I was gone. So we flew over to Dubai, and then from there, that's where it begins. That's where battle comes out. That's where the Kevlar helmet, the frag vest, you know, a magazine, the rifle, you know, that's the start. And we were thrown onto a herd, and we were attacked to maneuver into southern Afghanistan. Yeah, November 11th, we had a little bit of quiet time. We did a small little Remembrance Day ceremony in the fall, which is a forward operating base. Basically, we're sleeping with the enemy. They're all around. So we did that, and then after that, we got orders for a mission. The mission was we were supplying medical supplies to a doctor in a little town. Intelligence came down that he was using it to help the Taliban. So our mission was to go in there and snatch, detain, and basically eliminate any threat that was going to try to stop us from doing that. On our way out there, I was in the call sign. We're getting close to the objective now. We were coming in hard, and my track system hit a pressure plate IED. It detonated. It had been probably about 12 to 18 inches more to the left. I probably would have been really standing here today because it hit the engine block. It punctured up into the engine block. So I was saved by the blast, but I took the concussion, and the concussion shattered my feet, and there's other stuff too. That pretty much was the end of my career in the military. I was medevaced to Row 3 in Kandahar. I went under a bit of surgery there, and then we shipped to Germany. I got through it. Quilts of Valour. I have a quilt. You guys sent that to me in Germany. All right, I still have that quilt today. It's a beautiful quilt, and I'll treasure that for the rest of my life. And you guys are amazing. You do awesome work. So anyways, I was medevaced back home to Sunnybrook. I went under reconstructive surgery. It's been a lot. That was late 2008, and I'm still 3 reconstructive surgeries later, surgeries on my knees, and I'm slowly getting better. It's been a long road, not just physically, but mentally. I almost lost a beautiful woman down there. I almost lost my family, and a lot of other things. I went through it. Hey, great. Recovery. January 4th, 2015, I was released medically. I was unfit for duties, and we basically started our life together. Mind you, it was a night we lived in Toronto. And then we moved to Shelburne. And I must say, it was the greatest decision we ever made. You don't get too many towns anymore that are patriotic. I find this town very patriotic, and I find you guys support us vets. Like, you guys are amazing. Legion, branch 220, best Legion in Canada. All right? This branch has supported me since day one.
Yeah.
Right? They helped me financially by offering me a job here at the Legion. They
support us.
They support us. I'm not going to get into details, but they've had my back and they've supported me. Even like little things like orthotics for my shoes and stuff like that. And everybody treats us with such respect. And man, I love this town. I love this Legion, and
Thank you.
I love my country.
Thank you, Rob. I'd now like to call on Ross Warman to recognise and propose a toast to the veterans.
I was just going to say a small toast to the veterans, but I need a little more than that. My wife and I have had a time for the last 6 or 7 years to meet with our veterans at our branch every Wednesday morning. They're amazing people. It's been so much fun and I enjoy it. My wife's enjoyed it. People I brought in can't believe that what we're doing. I've talked to other branches, and they think it's a great idea, but they're not doing it. And I really believe that they should. I could name all our vets, but I think in this town, I think most of us know who they are. And please raise your glasses. Toast to the vets.
The vets.
Now I'd like to ask the President of the Ladies Auxiliary, Denise Chobby, to come forward and make a presentation and a report.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your dinner. It was not brought by the Ladies Auxiliary this year. It was done by the Legion, and it was delicious. The LA has been very busy, I'm glad to say, and we have amazing volunteers. I'm glad that we have partaken in a whole bunch of activities, and I have a check for the Legion for $15,000 this year. Some good news on the very It's been a good year. Here you go, you want the check? Thank you to all our volunteers, and it's been a memorial year, but more volunteers are needed, so please come on in.
Thank you, Denise. And now the final speaker for the evening will be our President, Lesa, to propose a toast to the Legion.
Excuse me, my makeup is running. Few things to say. I did write stuff down. I normally don't. I do everything by the seat of my pants. That's why I don't really have much pants. But First and foremost, thank you to the Quilts of Valour. I had no idea. Truly, I do appreciate what you guys did for me. Or, I'm sleeping with it tonight. My husband is away. But anyways, I would like to thank the kitchen staff and the cadets for serving this year. Fantastic job. I would like to congratulate Captain Ruth Garwood for her appointment to commanding officer and taking over our 164 Air Cadet Squadron. This is about our veterans, and I did have a veteran come to the branch last week and speak to me. Sorry, I just have to compose myself. He's not here tonight because he is actually in the hospital. He did ask that I read this poem, and this poem is more Christmas than it is remembrance. But he received this poem when he was the president of his branch. I think it was Burke's Falls that he was the president, and I am talking about Bill Bennett. This message was, pass this on for people to help remember on Remembrance Day what veterans are. 'Twas the night before Christmas. He lived all alone in a one-bedroom house made of plaster and stone. I had come down the chimney with presents to give and to see just who in this house did live. I looked all about, a strange sight I did see. No tinsel, no presents, not even a tree. No stocking by mantle, just boots filled with sand. On the wall hung pictures of far distant lands. With medals and badges, awards of all kinds, a sober thought came through my mind. For this house was different. It was dark and dreary. I found the home of a soldier, once I could see clearly. The soldier lay sleeping, silent, alone, curled up on the floor in his one-bedroom home. The face was so gentle, the room in such disorder, not how I pictured a Canadian soldier. Was the hero of whom I just read, curled up on a poncho, the floor for a bed. I realized the families that I saw this night owed their lives to these soldiers who were willing to fight. Soon around the world, the children would play, the grown-ups would celebrate a bright Christmas day. They all enjoy freedom each month of the year because of the soldiers like the one laying here. I couldn't help wonder how many lay alone on a cold Christmas Eve in a land far from home. The very thought brought a tear to my eye. I dropped to my knees and started to cry. The soldier awakened, and I heard a rough voice. Santa, don't cry. This life is my choice. I fight for my freedom. I don't ask for more. My life is my God, my country, my corpse. The soldier rolled over and drifted to sleep. I couldn't control it. I continued to weep. I kept watching for hours, so silent and still. We both shivered from the cold night's chill. I don't want to leave on that cold, dark night, this guardian of honor so willing to fight. Then the soldier rolled over, with a voice so soft and pure, whispered, "Carry on, Santa, it's Christmas Day, all is secure." One look at my watch, and I knew he was right. Merry Christmas, my friends, and to all a good night. That was the end of the poem, sir. This poem was written by peacekeeping soldiers stationed overseas. This falls so true. So I'm not sure that many of you know what I've been doing for the branch and for our community for years, is that on Christmas Day, myself, my husband, and my son and my stepson sacrifice ourselves to allow people to come in and have Christmas with us. I didn't do it last year for personal reasons, but it's open this year. So please, anyone that is alone this Christmas, please join me on Christmas Day at Branch 220.
few poems this evening, but I've just got one more. As every year since I've been doing this, which I know I'm not that old, but it seems like forever, I've tried to find a different poem or something to close off the evening, as I have done again this year. So, with the 100-year celebration of the Passion Day conflict and the Invictus Games that was held in Toronto this year, I found the Invictus poem, which is a Victorian poem written in 1875, and it was published in 1888. Originally, it had no title in the first volume of William Henley's poems. He wrote this whilst he was in hospital being treated for tuberculosis of the bone, known as Pott's disease. So I'd like to just read this to you. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winched nor cried aloud, nor under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the year finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments and scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. They grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
That closes our dinner. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. We never toasted the Legion, so I would like to propose a toast to Branch 220 in closing. Branch 220.